try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they're scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands.
Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I don't know what's going on. Of course, this thing's always messing up on me. Now it's not playing my intro video. I don't know. I apologize about that. What is going on, Fin fans? Welcome. Good morning to you all. I hope you all are having a wonderful Monday so far. I apologize about Saturday. We were supposed to have an open fan panel. I'm dealing with some stuff with my dog right now. I had to take him up to an emergency vet Saturday. He's got his urethra line clogged with some kind of stones. There's some kind of stones on his thing where he's unable to use the bathroom. So we had to rush him up to Cornell, which was absolutely ridiculous. His belly was super hard. He was throwing up some white stuff. And they said if we didn't bring him up that night, his bladder would have ended up bursting, which would have been horrible, obviously. But they did an x-ray on his little stomach, and I only got a little Shih Tzu Yorkie. He's literally this big. He's 11 years old. My wife loves him more than me, I think, sometimes. But yeah, they took an x-ray of his stomach, and he's got 1 million of them in there. He's got 1 million of them in there. I don't know what causes them. Some of them are so big that they'll never get up there to clog the line, but his whole line is clogged all the way through. So they put a catheter in. Sorry, I know this isn't football talk, but they put a catheter in, which cleared the line a little bit. But as soon as they pulled the catheter out and then we brought him home, it filled right back up and blocked him again. So we got to take him to the vet today. I'm guessing that they're going to do an emergency surgery. He's still not able to go to the bathroom. So I apologize about that. I don't know what's going on with this, and it's not playing my entrance video, but I do apologize. But you guys did see, listen, we're going to break down the Miami Dolphins schedule. Obviously, the schedule was released last week. We're going to break down the games in segments. We're going to go with 1 through 4, and then 4 through 8, and then 8 through 12, obviously, so on and so forth, and take a more in-depth look at each one of these games. Now, at this point in the season, there's still going to be a we're still going to add players. We're still going to get rid of players. Players are still going to be released around the league. Players are still going to be added around the league. So again, take the predictions, take the talk with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? With a grain of salt. I mean, there's certain teams on your schedule that you feel like as a franchise that if you go in the battle right now without an improved roster that you should beat. Like when we play the Saints, you know, I don't care who we add. As of right now, I think that we will beat the Saints no matter what. And that's just the way I feel. We're a much better franchise than the Saints. We're in a much better position than the Saints. We got a better team than the Saints. Yeah, Elwood. You know, I appreciate that. I'm not a big pet person. I'm not. I gotta admit, I'm not a big animal person. Do I love our dog? Yeah. I mean, we've had him for 11 years. A dog grows on you. I'm not a big cat person. You know, I think cats are kind of useless in my opinion, honestly. I think cats are kind of useless. They kind of come around and only try to use you when they want something. But a dog really shows you love. And my wife is the big animal person. Uh, I'm not big on, like I said, I'm not big on pets. So when we got a dog and it was hyperallergenic, which means it doesn't shed, listen, I'm for it because I'm not one of the people that can deal with the cat hair, the dog hair, getting in my food. You know, it's a little dog, so it can't get on the counter. It can't do that. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with him. I know that it cost me $1,200 for that visit. I know when we take him today, they're gonna try to cost me another $1,200 to do the same thing that they did because he's gonna have to be drained again. And then the surgery is anywhere from $3,500 to $7,500 that I don't have $3,500 to $7,500 just laying around. You know what I mean? I don't know a lot of people that do have that type of money. So I don't know what we're going to do in that situation, but I mean, I guess we'll have to figure it out. But thank you for all the love. Thank you for the understanding. So week 1, the Miami Dolphins have the Indianapolis Colts. Listen, I feel like the early part of our schedule, and let me see if I still got a picture of our schedule on here. Let me see if I still got a picture of it, which I do. Let's take a look at the full schedule here for a minute. Listen, I feel like the early part of our schedule is very favorable for this Miami Dolphins team. Now, people can say what they want. They can, Cliff, I've came to terms that Cliff is a hater. I'm sorry, bro. You are a hater. You are an absolute hater. You're always making some comments on and doing the most, calling me a liar, doing this, doing that. Like you're kind of weird, dude. If you unsubscribe, you unsubscribe, whatever. But I can listen. I'm a good dude, and I try to hear both sides of the story. But if you're just gonna be a clown and do clown things, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But the early part of this schedule is very favorable for us. The Colts, we played them last year. They beat us. But I don't think the Colts are a better franchise than the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they got a better team than the Miami Dolphins. You got the New England Patriots week 2. Listen, the Patriots went out and spent a shit ton of money this offseason. They brought in Mike Vrabel. Without a shadow of a doubt, they are going to be better this year. Is the year 1 with Mike Vrabel, does that put them over? Does that overtake the Miami Dolphins as the second best team in this division? I don't know about that. I don't know if Drake May in year 2 is going to be good enough to overcome the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if they got the weapons to overcome the Miami Dolphins. They got a good defense. They got an up-and-coming defense. But I'm not sure that in year 1 of Mike Vrabel, the New England Patriots are better than the Miami Dolphins. Then we got week 3, Buffalo. You know how that is. We don't really got to go in depth of. I mean, we are going to go in depth, but we don't really have to say too much about Buffalo. We know what it is. Week 4, we got the Jets. I'm not worried about the Jets. You know, their core. Aaron Glenn, I think, is going to be a decent coach for them. Year 1, coming from Detroit. But they still don't have a legit quarterback over there. I'm not overly worried about the Jets. So, like I said, favorable schedule. You got then week 5, you got the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers, listen, the Panthers had a pretty good second half of the season last year. They had a pretty good second half of the season last year. But do I think that they're better than the Miami Dolphins? No, not yet. Not yet. Week 6, you got the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh obviously does a fantastic job. I'm kind of sad that Jim Harbaugh was never, with all the links to the Miami Dolphins. I'm kind of saddened that Jim Harbaugh never became the Miami Dolphins head coach. It just seemed like when he was available, we didn't have an open spot, and when we did have an open spot, he wasn't available. It never meshed up completely. It kind of sucks, but I don't think that the Chargers are a team that we can't beat. I don't think they're a team that we can't beat. And then you got the Cleveland Browns, who are a complete mess. You got the Atlanta Falcons, who I think, listen, we can beat Atlanta. I'm not worried about Atlanta. And like I said, we're not going to go too far in depth. We've already went through that. We're going to break down the first 4 today. But those first 8 games, I feel very confident about. I feel very confident about. I can see us in those first 8, 7-1, 6-2. I don't think 6-2 is out of the realm of possibility. I don't think 6-2 is out of the realm of possibility. And who knows, maybe, just maybe 7-1. Miller said, let's go start a GoFundMe. I have no idea how to do that. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, these vets are crazy, man. When we called up there, because we were concerned because it was a Saturday. Sorry to go back to the vet thing. When we called up there was no local vets open. There was only the emergency vet that's in Cornell. And we called up there and they were like, it's $500 to $700 just to step in the door. That'll be for everything. And we knew they were full of crap. So then when my wife got up there, it'll be no more than 900. And by the time we were all said and done, oh, your bill's $1,200. Like, come on. Like, you know, $1,200. Absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, they're going to have to do all that at my local vet now. They're going to have to drain him again, put the catheter in, they charge $400 to put a catheter in. Wish I watched a video of them putting a catheter in a dog and it took them 37 seconds, which is absolutely ridiculous. They charge people that amount of money. It's absolutely ridiculous. People can't afford that. People can't afford that. So let's share this screen. Take a look at we played the Indianapolis Colts last year and we lost. We lost to the Indianapolis Colts last year. But there is a but. We had no Tua Tagovailoa. When we played the Indianapolis Colts last year. Matter of fact, we had some of the worst quarterback play I've ever seen last year. Some of the worst quarterback play I have ever seen last year. So let's take a look. Okay. So last year we lost to the Colts 16-10. 16-10. It was all tied up going into the fourth quarter. 10-10. Here's the box score. Anthony Richardson, 10-24, 129 yards. He did nothing. QBR rating at 22.5. Our defense came to play. I'll let you know the real reason we lost this game. Anthony Richardson, he had an RA game on the ground, 14 carries, 56 yards. Miami Dolphins have always struggled with, except for that one lone game against Baltimore. It was a nighttime game where we just absolutely blitzed the shit out of the Baltimore Ravens and just held Lamar Jackson to absolutely nothing. We struggle with running quarterbacks. But 14 carries for 56 yards. Godson had 14 carries for 51 yards. Nothing special, though. Nothing special. Receiving, Michael Pittman, 3 catches, 63. Adion Mitchell, 2 for 30. Like I said, nothing special. Over on the Miami Dolphins side, we got Tyler Huntley, 7-13, 87 yards. This is for, even if you put that's half a game. Even if you put these two together, that's ridiculous for a full game. 7-13, 87 yards, 6.7 average, 1 touchdown, which, I mean, at least he got the touchdown, no turnovers. QBR, 27.7. Tim Boyle, 8 of 13, 74 yards, 5.7 yards of average. Altogether, 15-26, 149 yards, 6.2 yards of average, 1 touchdown. That's terrible. Terrible quarterback play. HN had 15 carries for 77. Mostert had 11 carries for 50 yards. Listen, we lost this game due to turnovers. We had 2 crucial turnovers in this game that is the reason we lost. We had a fumble by Raheem Mostert, and then a fumble by your fullback. Alec Ingold had a fumble. 2 fumbles in Indianapolis Colts territory that they were able to turn into points, and that is the reason that the Indianapolis Colts beat us. And we had no Tua. We played good defensively, but had no Tua, had the 2 fumbles. Absolutely ridiculous. We should have won this game last year. If Tua was playing, we would have definitely won. We should have won it anyway. This is a game that kept us out of the playoffs. This game, way back in, what week was it? Week 8, week 7, is what this game kept us out of the playoffs. Huntley got hurt in the third quarter. Tim Boyle had to come in. After Tim Boyle came in, we couldn't do nothing. Jonnu had 7 catches for 96 yards. He had a good game. Tyreek had only 1 catch for 8 yards. Jalen Waddle, 1 catch for 11 yards. The Miami Dolphins, without Tua, were the lowest scoring team. They were the NFL's lowest scoring team. Sanders clanked a field goal with 5:14 to go to tie the game. And then Raheem Mostert with the fumble. Cliff, listen, bro. Cliff, what team are you a fan of? What team are you a fan of, Cliff? So listen, the Colts beat us 16-10 last year with no Tua, no with two costly fumbles by our one by our halfback, one by our fullback. I don't see that happening this year. The Indianapolis Colts are obviously bringing Anthony Richardson back for another year, giving him another opportunity to start. I think our defense is going to be super improved up front. I think we're going to punish Anthony Richardson if he's the starting quarterback week one. I think we'll be full force offensively. I think we're going to put a hurting on the Indianapolis Colts week one. I don't care what our cornerback situation looks like week one. This is not a game that it's going to come back to bite us. Matter of fact, this is going to be a game, an opportunity for our secondary to get some starting experience and not worry about us costing us the game. We are going to put a hurting on the Indianapolis Colts week one. I truly believe that. I think we are going to smash them. I absolutely think we're going to smash them. How do you all feel about week one? I think we are going to absolutely smash the Indianapolis Colts. That's just how I feel. I'm not worried about week one whatsoever. I think that's almost a guaranteed win for us. I feel like it's almost a guaranteed win for us. I think we're going to be able to run the ball just fine with our new improved offensive line. I think Tua is going to be able to get the ball into his playmakers. I think this defense is going to be able to eat. I can see a complete blowout in week one. And I think that's something this team needs. I think a week one blowout of the Indianapolis Colts is something this team needs to get their confidence going. Elwood says 35-10. Elwood, listen, 35-10 is not a bad score. I can see us putting up over 40. I really do. I can see us putting up over 40 on Indy. I think Mike McDaniel is going to want to show off this new look offense. I think that defense is going to come out there hungry. I think Bradley Chubb's going to be hungry. Hopefully Jalen Phillips is out there. I think this defense is going to be hungry. You got all these rookies out there ready to come and make their mark. I could see us putting over 40 on the Indianapolis Colts. I really do. Michael says 28-17 win. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say 41-10. I don't even know how you get the 41. 41 just keeps popping in my head. I'm gonna say 41-13. 41-13. I'm gonna say the Miami Dolphins destroy the Indianapolis Colts 41-13. Week one. I really do. I like our matchups versus them. I think we're just gonna come out and we're looking to make a statement. I think Mike McDaniel's looking to make a statement. I think this team's looking to make a statement. Now, if Tyreek Hill's not on this team come week one, I don't think we score 41 points. But with the way our roster's set up right now, I like the Miami Dolphins in a blowout 41-13 over the Indianapolis Colts. I just think we're a better team all across the board. Tua should be healthy. We should be as healthy as we're going to get week one. Elwood says 5 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 41. Yeah, so that sounds good to me. It sounds good to me. Miller says 2016, it'll be a defensive game. I think our offense is too good to put up just 20 points. That's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to theirs. I just think we're too good to put up only 20 points. I think with a new improved offensive line, I think we're too good to put up 20 points. with a trash offensive line last year, and with a trash offensive line last year, we were scoring 25 a game with Tua. I don't think we regress with this offensive line. I think we come out sharp. I really do. I think we come out sharp. Let me see. Week 2, we travel to we have the New England Patriots. I think this one's at home, right? Yeah, because we have to go to New England at the end of the year. Let me pull up some of their. What the hell? I clicked on New England Patriots key additions and it said Tyreek Hill. I was like, hold on, what? Obviously, the New England Patriots had a boatload of money to spend. Um, does that always project out? Does that always equal wins going on having a big free agency haul? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But should the New England Patriots be better? Yeah, they probably should. When you add a bunch of talent, you add I'm not as big a fan of Mike Vrabel as everybody else is, but do I think he's an upgrade? Yeah, I do think he's an upgrade. I do think he's an upgrade. But do I think he's as great as everybody tries to make him out to be? I don't personally, but I do think he's an upgrade. So the Patriots offseason additions, yes, Stephon Diggs, they had him to the wide receiver position. That's an added weapon. I like a sneaky good move is Matt Collins. Matt Collins, I think he is a phenomenal player. He gets down there and does that dirty, grimy stuff. He's got really good hands. He's just a difference maker, I think. Some of the people that they added, a lot of offensive line help, added people along the defensive side of the ball. Milton Williams, the defensive tackle, 4 years, 104 million, clogging that hole, clogging that middle. That's a big add for them. Robert Spillane, linebacker, 3 years, 37 million. Carlton Davis, cornerback, 3 years, 60 million. That's a big upgrade for them. This defense should be really good this year. The offensive line should be greatly improved. But I still don't think you got a super amount of weapons for your young quarterback. I think Drake May is I think he can be a mix between a Justin Herbert and a Josh Allen. That's it. That's his top out potential. Does he end up being that? Who knows? Who knows? But I think he's got that type of potential. Now, again, do I think that the New England Patriots necessarily have enough firepower to come in and beat us? I'm not going to go that far. But I think their defense is going to give us fits. I think their defense will give us problems. Last year, we first game against the Patriots last year, we beat them 15-10. And then the next game, we beat them 34-15 more convincingly. I think it's going to be a whole lot closer. I think there's a possibility that we could split with the New England Patriots this year. But I still like our chances. This game's at home. It's our home opener. New England's going to have to come down here and play in that heat. I think they're going to struggle with that. I think, listen, we've been great at home. I think the atmosphere after a week one, just trampling of the Indianapolis Colts, we're going to be feeling ourselves. I think it's going to be a tough environment for New England to come down and play in. I think Drake May is not going to have hit his stride yet. So I like the Miami Dolphins to steal this one too. I think we start the year 2-0. That's a great start for the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to say we win this one. And I think this is going to be closer and more of a defensive game. I'm going to say 24-21. I think it's going to be really close because I do think the Indianapolis Colts improved. I do. I think they improved. I like Drake May. Now, does he become the next superstar quarterback of this league? I mean, that's to be determined. Just because you got talent, just because you got the tools, doesn't mean you put everything together and become the player you're supposed to be. Just because you got the talent doesn't mean you end up being the player you're supposed to be. Like I said, this team is greatly improved. I think they did upgrade bringing Mike Vrabel in. I think Mike Vrabel's a good coach, but I'm not buying into he's one of the best coaches of all time. He's such a great guy. Look at what he did with the Titans. Listen, with the Titans, he ran on the coattail of Derrick Henry. You had a prime Derrick Henry that you handed the ball off to over and over and over and over and over. And listen, Mike Vrabel did some good things over there. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but you got to take into account that he had I would say Derrick Henry is an all-time great back at this point. You had one of the all-time great backs in your backfield in his prime, able to dish the ball to 30 times a game. So I think a lot of their success, I mean, they didn't win a Super Bowl. They didn't go to a Super Bowl. So how much did he really accomplish there? How much did he really accomplish for us to give him all his flowers like people do? For everybody to give him all his flowers like they do, what did he really accomplish? Let's be real. I mean, like I said, I think he's a good coach, but I don't think he doesn't draw fear into my heart like, oh my God, we're in trouble because the Buffalo Bill or because the New England Patriots brought him in as a coach. You know what I mean? Like it sucks that they got a decent coach, but it doesn't put fear into me. You know what I mean? It doesn't put fear into me. And then, of course, week 3, you guys know who's on the schedule. We all take a look in. Push back, Miller. I mean, you can push back. If you got a different opinion, it's cool. Yeah, like I'm not upset if you feel differently about them. Like, if you got some pushback, let's hear it. I mean, that's just my opinion. My opinion's not, God's word or anything like that. My opinion's not the opinion, and I hate, listen, some of these content creators, I was the first one to say this. I was the first one to say this. Come on. Perennial playoff maker turns Tannehill into a playoff winning quarter. Listen, Tannehill wasn't bad when he was here, though. Let's keep it real. Tannehill wasn't bad when he was here. I liked Tannehill. I don't think Tannehill was great, but I like Tannehill here. You put an all-time great back behind Tannehill, Tannehill could do some decent things. Also, look at that division. Look at that division. He developed Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was going to be Derrick Henry no matter who the coach was. A.J. Brown made. Listen, some players are gonna be. What up, Dolphin Don? Some players are just gonna be who they're meant to be, bro. I'm not willing to give Mike Vrabel the credit for Derrick Henry's success. I'm not willing to do that. I think Derrick Henry, no matter who the head coach there, he has the physical tools to come out and dominate no matter who his coach is. A.J. Brown is a physically dominant wide receiver. Yeah, the division was weak. I think Tannehill was a good quarterback. He had us on the cusp of the playoffs a few times until that injury with Calais Campbell. Miller, I just think there's more to it than our quarterback can't get us over the hill. Now, we say that Tannehill can't get us over the hill or Tua couldn't get us over the hill, but there's so many other factors into that. Listen, you can say that if we're healthy every year, if we're pretty healthy every year and we're going into the end of the season and Tua just has bomb game after bomb game at the end of the season and we lose out every year and we don't make the playoffs. Or every year we go to the playoffs and Tua just has a bad game. But I think it's more than that. I think we go crawling into December so injured, so hurt that it's not just a Tua thing. It's not just a Tua thing. Yeah, I mean, no one's ever going to be number 13 here in Miami. You know what I mean? No one's ever going to live up to that. You know what I mean? But we're saying that Tannehill couldn't get us over the hill or Tua couldn't get us over the hill. I don't think that's a fair assessment. Like I said, if we were pretty healthy every year going into December and Tua just didn't play well, then yeah, we could say that. But every year it seems like we're headed into December with the most injuries or that any team has in the NFL, or our quarterback is unavailable. But I mean, you think he's a better coach than I do, and I respect it. And maybe he is. Maybe he does deserve more credit than what I'm giving him. I'm not I'm not saying I'm necessarily right. You know what I mean? Yeah, Miller, absolutely. Both of them. Both of them definitely. Tannehill definitely with that knee. I was so sick that they didn't have him have surgery, and then he came back in the preseason, and I felt like the Miami Dolphins and Tannehill had finally hit a area where he was turning a corner. You know what I mean? When Tua got hurt, or when Tannehill got hurt, and Calais Campbell, it wasn't a dirty play, but Calais Campbell took out Tua's knee. I really felt like Tannehill was at the point in his career where he was turning the corner, where he had the opportunity to become one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this league. I really do. I really think Tannehill was turning that corner. And then the injury happened, and then he elected not to have surgery. He came back next preseason. I felt really good about our team that year, and then he blows it out in training camp, and He's out for the whole next year too. I was very hurt about that. I think that was a bad move, not having him go and have the surgery. If the Pats made the wild card, would that change your opinion on Vrabel? Maybe some. Maybe it would change it some. Uh, but they did go out and spend a shit ton of money. They do have a young quarterback that Mike Vrabel wasn't responsible for. And the Patriots, the Patriots weren't the worst team in the league last year. They weren't the best, obviously. But they had a lot of key additions. I mean, how much is it coaching and how much is it that you went out and spent $130 million of free agency and had a top 10 pick in the draft? You know what I mean? So we shall see. I think he'll deserve some credit if they make the playoffs. I think the AFC is going to be tough this year. What up, JD the Great? I think the AFC is going to be tough this year. But I still see us going 2-0 to start the season. I do. And then we have a Thursday night up in Orchard Park. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Thursday night, Orchard Park, Buffalo Bills. And this is where everything went bad last year. We went and played the Buffalo Bills last year in week 2. 31-10. Just the Buffalo Bills came out and hammered us. Tua came out and was just playing absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Look at that stat line by Tua. In this game, Tua was 17 of 25, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. 3 terrible picks by Tua Tagovailoa. 3 terrible picks. And then we all know the play. Tua runs into Damar Hamlin, suffers a concussion, and then we have the all-time great Skylar Thompson come in the game. And then you knew our season was. I knew at that moment when Tua came off the field with a concussion that our season was in trouble. I knew it. 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 I was so depressed and so sad at that moment. Skylar Thompson is the worst quarterback I've ever seen for this team. I'm sorry. And people can have different opinions and they can show me stats. They can do whatever. Skylar Thompson disgusts me. Skylar Thompson disgusts me. Now, Devon Achane had a good game. 22 carries, 96 yards. I don't know why they didn't feed him more. He also had 7 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill only 3 catches, 24 yards. Waddle 4 catches, 41 yards. We were just unable to do anything. They were able to move the ball all over the field on us. They just dismantled us. They just dismantled us. They just dismantled us. Yeah, that was. We were at home for that one. We were at home for that one. JD says Cleo Lemon was the worst. Yeah, I mean, Cleo was bad. I just think that with Skylar Thompson, I can't get out of my head how bad offensively we were last year. With the amount of talent we had on this team and for us to struggle to get first downs last year, I just can't get that out of my mind. Cleo Lemon didn't have a Tyreek Hill on his team. Cleo Lemon didn't have a Jalen Waddle on his team or a Devon Achane. Like, he didn't have those weapons on his team. That's what I think makes it really bad for Skylar Thompson, is you got all these weapons and you still struggle to get first downs. You still struggled to get first downs. Literally struggled to get 10 yards. Every 10 yards was like like this huge accomplishment for this team last year. That's how it felt. That's how it felt at times. That's how I felt at times, for real. Yeah, Miller. I mean, you're not going to change my opinion on this one. You're not going to change my. I can't stand that dude. I cannot stand that dude. Nothing's going to change my mind on that. Like listen, I I wasn't worried about us scoring points last year. I was worried that we could not get. That's what was so worrisome. It was like, oh my god, it's we got 10 yards now. We got to get another 10. Oh my god, how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? Like that's what it felt like to me at times, is that we could not, that it was a struggle to get a first down. And I mean, it showed. There was a point that we were averaging 11, 12 points a game last season. 11, 12 points a game. That was our average that we were averaging. A team with Tyreek Hill, a team with Jalen Waddle, a team with Devon Achane, 11, 12 points a game. That was our season average. So everybody that wants to say Tua absolutely sucks, I mean, Tua don't got to be your favorite quarterback. He don't got to be the answer to this franchise. But when Tua came back with the same team, we averaged right around 25 points a game. So Tua was 14 points per game better than Skylar Thompson. You know what I mean? So next time you want to replace Tua, just remember what the other, you know what I mean? Just remember what the other possibility could be. Not saying it's going to be, but the possibility is that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's not always greener on the other side. So everybody that is so quick to always, we need to get rid of Tua, we need to get rid of Tua, we need to get rid of Tua. There is no guarantees in the NFL. No guarantees. No 100%. Just because you draft someone with the number one overall pick doesn't mean they're going to pan out. Doesn't mean they're going to pan out. But the Buffalo Bills absolutely demolished us in week 2. They straight hammered us. But what is this? Oh yeah. But the next game against Buffalo, we played much, much better. Tua was back. We lost 30-27 up in Buffalo. You know, everybody says we can't play in cold weather. This was a cold game. And did we win? No, we didn't win. But we competed. Tua was 25-28 in the cold. Where he can't play. 25-28 Tua was. He completed 89% of his passes in the cold against the Buffalo Bills for 231 yards, 2 scores, no interceptions, QBR 133. In the cold, Tua, 25-28, 90%. 90%, guys. And we didn't get much on the ground. 10 for 56 for Mostert, which isn't bad. Achane had 12 for 63. I mean, that's not bad. 1 touchdown on the ground. Achane, 8 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Achane was the key. Tyreek, 4 catches, 80 yards. Jonnu, 5 for 46. Waddle, only 2 for -4. So we need to get him more invested. Chop Robinson was able to get a sack on Josh Allen. Jason Sanders, two field goals. But for everybody to say that Tua can't play in the cold weather, this game was cold. Josh Allen, 25 of 39, 64% completions, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, QBR 100. We held Josh Allen in check with the running game too. Two attempts, only 7 yards rushing. Ty Johnson, 3 catches, 3 rushes for 23 yards. James Cook, 10 for 44. I'll take that all day. Dalton Kincaid, 4 for 32. Matt Collins, 5 for 30 and a touchdown. Keon Coleman, 1 for 21. This is the Ray Davis. Ray Davis killed us. 2 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Ray Davis, 2 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Ray Davis is the one that's the play that Jalen Ramsey was in coverage on Ray Davis and absolutely got smoked by him and gave up the touchdown. Poyer lost that game for us. Poyer did cost us. That flag on Poyer at the end of the game absolutely cost us. And then we're unlucky. You know, Tyler Bass was struggling to even keep his job, and he kicks a 60-yard field goal to beat us. Absolutely, Glenn. You're 100%. That 15-yard penalty, and he wasn't. Listen, the guy wasn't catching the ball regardless. There was no need for that hit. Now, Josh Allen had an extra touchdown pass more than what Tua had in this game, but I think Tua absolutely outplayed Josh Allen. He threw only 3 interceptions or 3 incompletions the whole game. He was absolutely phenomenal. So the last few years, the Miami Dolphins have played the Buffalo Bills well up in Buffalo. And now this game, we're going up there and it's going to be warm. It's not going to be warm, but it's not going to be freezing. There might be a little chill to the air. But it's not going to be warm. It's not going to be freezing. It's going to be okay. And I think that these Miami Dolphins, if they're going to pull one out this year against Buffalo, this is a great opportunity for them to do it. You got them on a short week. You know, we should be as healthy as we're going to be. We need to start out strong and go punch Buffalo in the mouth. Now, this game is the game that concerns me about our secondary. Well, Glenn, it's not going to be warm because it's a nighttime game. In nighttime up here in New York in the 3rd week of September, it's not freezing by any means, but it can get a little chilly. It can get a little chilly up here in autumn. But this is the game that I worry about our secondary. Because, you know, Josh Allen, he's got that rocket arm. He's got that special arm that they can really put a hurting on us. But this is definitely a measuring stick game. If we can somehow come out there and and beat the Buffalo Bills, that would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. I mean, we're due for one. We're due for one. And it's really sad that if Jalen Ramsey would just shut his damn mouth and do the right thing, I'd feel real confident right now. I'd feel good about this team having an opportunity to beat the Buffalo Bills. I would, because now we're only looking for a number 2 corner, and I feel like this team is a really good team when you take a look at it top to bottom. Now, do we need a few more depth pieces? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we have some cap space. If Ramsey was staying on this team, you add a number 2 corner. Yeah, you add maybe a depth piece, a veteran safety, and another veteran guard or tackle. And I feel pretty good about this team. Glenn says, I'm not worried about the secondary as much as you. I believe the front will put pressure on quarterback. Quarterback will not give as much time to go downfield. Absolutely. I mean, Glenn, the upfront's going to help. Absolutely. But a player like Josh Allen who can extend plays, that's where it's going to give you issues, because while our corners may be capable of keeping up with guys for 5-6 seconds, extending the plays, I think our corners are going to struggle with that. People are going to get lost in coverage because of their inexperience, and that's going to lead to big plays by Josh Allen. Josh Allen's ability to extend plays with his legs, that's where I get worried about the secondary, is that it's hard to cover for that long in the NFL. And I think that's the biggest area of concern when it comes to young corners, is to be able to stick with a guy for that period of time. But I think I think we're going to have as good a chance as any to win this game. But until I see it with my own 2 eyes, I gotta give the win to Buffalo. Until they prove that they can beat Buffalo, I gotta give Buffalo their flowers. And I'm gonna say that I so want to say Miami wins, but I don't want to be a homer. I'm gonna say Buffalo wins 24-21. I want to say Miami's going to win this game so bad, I do. But I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm doing my due diligence as someone trying to call it down the middle. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm doing my due diligence, calling it down, trying to be non-objective, predicting these games. If I say Buffalo is going to lose to Miami here. Until they show me, I got to go with the Buffalo Bills 24-21. What's your thoughts? What's your predictions on this game? What's your predictions for this game? I'm going to say that this puts us at 2-1. 2-1, first 3 games of the season. And then week 4, Monday night against them scumbag Jets. Scumbag New York football Jets. We got it home, Monday Night Football. Michael says we win 24-17. Yeah, I just can't, I don't feel like I'm being fair if I don't give Buffalo the win, just because I feel like I'd be too much of a homer saying Miami's going to win. Elwood says 35-34 overtime. Who's winning, Elwood? Bonnie says right now I would say it's a loss, but hoping that we can somehow pull it off. Dolphin down, and I mean we'll do when we get closer to the season. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do another one. We're gonna do another one, Dolphin Don. Don't you worry. This is just for right now. I understand that these teams are gonna change, and we're gonna hopefully add some secondary help and this and that. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button for me, please. Let's try to get it to 20 likes before the end of the show. If you're over on X watching, come over to the Fin Posse podcast on YouTube. We give giveaways over here and stuff. Continuing to grow. We can't go in with the same offensive scheme. Dolphin Don, I think our offensive scheme I don't think that's the problem is the offensive scheme. I think that our inability to run the football last year was our problem. Elwood says 35-38 us, my bad. Our inability to run the football last year was our problem. Because then teams could concentrate on that pass. People could jam us at the line. The safeties could sit deep, which eliminated the deep passing game for us. When we run the football, them safeties got to creep up into that box and help make the tackle. They got to creep up in that box, and that's when Tyreek and Jalen can run past them. And then the ball can start going over their heads. So week 4, Monday Night Football against the New York Football Jets. I'm not going to bring up a lot of stats from last year because this team is completely different. This team is different. There's no more Aaron Rodgers. Listen, Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets beat us last game of the season last year. Obviously, that was the game Tyreek Hill took himself out the game. Again, I'm not blaming him as much as other people do. I understand people being upset about it. But at the same time, I can understand Tyreek's frustration. I can understand this team's frustration. Yeah, you battle it out all year. You try to make a run towards these playoffs, and your quarterbacks missed 6 games. You're still going to battle without Tua. And to see Kansas City put no effort up against the Denver Broncos and see Denver just straight destroying the Kansas City Chiefs on the scoreboard, I'd be super frustrated too. So I don't take too much stock in that last game against the Jets. We beat them earlier in the season. They got a new quarterback, obviously, a new head coach, Aaron Glenn over from the Detroit Lions. We'll see how good of a job he can do. But they brought in a quarterback who I just don't get the thought process. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't get the thought process by the New York Jets. And maybe someone can explain to me why the New York Jets would bring in Justin Fields. Why would the New York Jets bring in Justin Fields? Tua still has not lost to the Jets. That is true, Glenn. Has he lost to the Patriots either? I don't know if he's lost to the Patriots either. Tua does own the Jets. But why would they go and they bring in Justin Fields? I thought it was weird because, they told Aaron Rodgers they didn't want him there no more. And I get it. Aaron Rodgers, just because of the type of person he is, his personality could ruin a team. and it could ruin a young head coach. Although I think Aaron Glenn, as a former player, would be more equipped to handle situations like that. I still, I don't, I don't think that Justin Fields is an upgrade over Aaron Rodgers. I just don't. So I think this is a. I don't respect Justin Fields' arm. Can he run the football? Yeah, he's a fantastic athlete. But I don't think with our new pass rush, our new up front defensive line, I don't think he's going to have as much success as he thinks he's going to have. I think the Miami Dolphins should be able to, their defense should be able to dominate the Jets offense. And, the Jets have a decent defense. They do. They do. But I don't think it's too much that the Miami Dolphins can't take care of business on Monday Night Football. And whether we lose to Buffalo or not, we have a pretty decent stretch that enable us to get even more healthy. The first couple weeks of the season, you get nicked up a little bit. Your body's trying to get used to that constant abuse that the NFL is. But we play a Thursday night game against Buffalo, and then we have off all the way until next Monday against the Jets. So we have 9 to 10 days off, which is a huge help. We're going to come in rested. We're going to come in fresh. And I think that we dominate the Jets in this one too. I think we have 2 dominant games in the first 4 games of the season. I can see us win 31-13 Dolphins. Monday Night Football. 31-13 Dolphins. Glenn says they got Justin Fields so they can get the number 1 pick in next year's draft. What Bonnie say up here? Yeah, I haven't seen Scotty. I don't know where. Maybe just stop messing with me. Maybe just stop messing with me. So that's what I got first 4 games of the season. I got us sitting at 3-1. What's your thoughts? I think there's a possibility we could win all 4. I don't see a scenario where at the very worst, I don't see us coming out any worse than 2-2. That's the very worst scenario in my opinion. Is 2-2, and that would be us dropping a game to a New England Patriots team that's going to be improved. That's worst case scenario, is that we finish this first 4 games 2-2. Running quarterbacks will eventually get hurt. I don't wish for anyone to get hurt, but it's inevitable if you are a running quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, and you know what, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills can deny it all they want, and they got in zero trouble for it, but they should have. Josh Allen got knocked unconscious last year. Josh Allen was out on the field, knocked out, unconscious. And the Buffalo Bills gave him smelling salts, which are against NFL rules, and threw him right back in the game. No blue tent, no nothing, which was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely against the NFL rules. But Josh Allen is above the rules, obviously. He's one of the poster boys of the NFL, so he gets to bypass those rules. But Josh Allen was knocked out unconscious. He sure was. Glenn says we have to be 3-1 or better after 4 games. I agree. We have to be, if we want to do something this year, we have to be 3-1 after 4. We have to be. But I could see a scenario where we are 2-2. I could see a scenario where we're 4-0 though. So obviously there's going to still be moves made to this roster. Hopefully, we get some more key contributors. But I like our chances right now. I like our chances. Like I said, these first 8 games of the season, I don't think there's a reason that the Miami Dolphins should finish anything under 6-2. At the very worst, 6-2. But just because a team has the potential to do something doesn't mean they necessarily step up to the plate and do it. Doesn't mean they necessarily step up to the plate and deliver. J17 is going to get that when he's suffering from CTE. Yeah, I mean, what's the next one look like? They start building up. Yeah, I don't know where Scotty went. Maybe he's just taking a break, Maybe he's taking a break from social media. Maybe he got banned. Maybe he got a ban for some reason. But wishing Scotty all the best. But yeah, I don't see us finishing anything under 3-1. Again, worst case scenario 2-2. If we finish 2-2 first 4, that's troublesome. That gets me worried for the rest of the season. I'd like to see us show the world those 2 early primetime games that we're serious, we're about that business, and give us some hope for the season and finish those first 4-0. I'd love to see it. I think there is a possibility. We do have to figure out this cornerback room though. But I like how this team's coming along. If Chris Greer would have drafted like this his whole tenure here, we'd have a Super Bowl caliber football team. If Chris Greer was drafting around along the trenches and drafting high quality individuals, not just football players, individuals off the field too, this team would be super successful right now. We'd be in a position where if someone left in free agency, we'd have someone behind them ready to go. We'd have plenty of depth. But he didn't. He didn't draft. He didn't draft the way he drafted this year. He hasn't drafted like that his whole career. But this is a nice start. I like the direction this team's headed. We'll see if the Miami Dolphins can pull it off. We'll see. But we'll break down games week 5 through 9 tomorrow and see what we look like after our first 9 weeks of the season. Jose said I would have got banned way before Scotty ever got banned. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is. I hope he's all right. But I gotta get this dog to the vet, so I will see you all. I'm gonna try to go do this open panel tonight. I don't know what's gonna happen with the dog, so it might get pushed back again. If that happens, I apologize. But we will get one going. We will make it happen at some point. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And like I said, I got the open panel scheduled for tonight. If it doesn't take place because I don't know what's going to happen with this dog, we will make sure we get it this week, though. I promise. I promise you. So thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And you know what it is. Fins up always, forever and always. Love y'all. Peace.